you again. It's that guy.
Yeah.
I know you from somewhere.
The juice is loose once again. Oh, not all the way loose, just a little loose. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Side Projekt Podcast. Yeah. Yes, dude, the juice is loose, ladies and gentlemen. Juicebox is here for the 110th episode, man. Kind of not necessarily back to back, dude, but you were here like 2 episodes ago, right?
Yeah.
Like 2 episodes ago, and then now you're here again.
You know what it is? This is kind of like the multiverse of madness. Like I jump in different timelines, different
you just kind of come in randomly here and there, dude. Like, whoa, I'm here. That's where he's at when he's gone.
No, I'm not.
That's why he's not here.
I'm because like in a different dimension.
Yeah, when he's not here, he's in an alternate universe of the Side Projekt Podcast where they still rock the legacy T, dude. I got so many new subscribers and followers and all that stuff. I don't even know if people even remember. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the OGs will though. The Amits, the Mass Mateos, the OGs that've been watching.
The old school original logo from when we first started, when Juice was originally here every episode. The logo that had absolutely nothing to do with the podcast. Doesn't really show anything about the podcast. It did have a mic though, so did have a mic.
Counts, right?
Yes, dude. Absolutely awesome, man. And as you can see, you can't get that anywhere, by the way, just for anybody that's like, oh, I want to rock the legacy one. You can't. It's gone. It's done. Hey, it's over with.
We'll sign these.
I don't even think I have any more, dude.
I
have like mine. You know what I mean?
I'll sign this one, and we'll
send it out somewhere.
Nah, just take a picture of it.
It's an NFT, right? Just screenshot it.
Screenshot it. No, don't screenshot it. You gotta buy the NFTs, buddy. That's the way that works.
Yeah, man. And then, as you guys can probably tell, I'm rocking these new Chazosaurus Rex tees, man.
You should have done the Chazosaurus.
It's doing it in the background somewhere at some point. They did it earlier. But I got these new Chazosaurus Rex ones. They may be up on the store right now. They may not. I'm not sure. I only made one. This is just for me, for myself right now. It was a sample. I wanted to see what it looked like because I'm gonna kind of maybe be Yeah, I'm gonna kind of be transitioning away from these like bright, like would you call them neon? I don't know. I'm just gonna call them bright, like these bright. I don't even know what color our the logo is. It's like a teal aqua-ish, bluish color. I don't know, man. But I'm gonna kind of be possibly transitioning away from these colors, this color scheme, and going with a more like vintage. It's still gonna be reminiscent of this, but it's not gonna be as bright. So I'm not exactly 100% sure what I'm doing. If I'm gonna release these ones and release the new color scheme, or release just one or the other, I'm not sure. And as of this recording, they're probably not up on the store right now. They're not up on the store right now.
So don't worry about it.
But when this episode comes out, they may be up on the store. I'm not sure. Alongside the Projekt Park mug, dude. The Projekt Park mug is up on the store right now. If you watched the last episode, I said that it might be up. It's definitely up as of this recording. When this episode comes out, I mean, it will be up on
so much
the
more merch
store
to come very soon.
Yes. I was trying to stall as long as I could, dude.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Did he go somewhere?
I don't know.
I was gonna come in hot with an intro. You guys do the walk in.
Damn.
I was waiting to walk in Chazosaurus Rex style.
I didn't
I'm like,
know,
they are
dude.
stalling. Yeah, man, I should have said it, but when you guys were like, we're doing the walk in, I'm like, I'm gonna do the walk in.
I'm not cutting this. I'm leaving it, dude. I'm not cutting this.
So should I just walk in at this point? And
you know what? Let's reverse.
I don't even.
I had a whole intro for you and everything, dude. I was stalling. I was like, maybe he went to check on his kid or something, you know?
Maybe.
Man, I was ready to walk in and.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Imposter Cosplay.
When you improvise.
Dude, I had this whole intro set up for you, dude. I'm doing the intro for you anyway, dude. Even though he's already here, I wrote out a dope intro and I'm doing it anyway, man. Let's join together. Let's join together this week by welcoming a frequent friend of the show, a published cosplayer who was also recently published by Cosplay Zine, and you can find them on Instagram at Cosplay Zine. He is Superman. He is Turbo Man. He's Darkseid. He's been Bane, Nightmare Robin, his various iterations of Batman, including the most recent Matt Reeves iteration, doubling up with his Riddler as well. A Side Projekt merch collaborator, and I'm thankful, a previous cosplay of the week, and if you're not careful, he said he'll do it again. For the third time, let's put our hands together and and welcome back, who's already on the screen, Imposter Cosplay.
That's that multiverse of madness, dude. I had to step out, and I was in the Jurassic World Dominion trailer for a second. I'm like, I'm in the wrong podcast, and I was gonna work my way back in. You know, I should have. You know, it just came in last minute. That's the problem.
You gotta talk to Doctor Strange about dropping you in the wrong
yes, dude.
God.
Maybe that's what happened.
Well,
the portal didn't come in on time. No worries, dude.
Yeah.
That was great.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, dude.
Maybe Pissmaker's on the loose or something. I was like, something happened.
Oh man, I love it when it's these improv moments, though, dude. I love it, man. Dude,
I'm like, they're going on for a while, and they're talking about the merch. I'm like,
because I didn't see you on the screen, so I was stalling, and I know Juice caught it too, because we locked eyes for a moment and looked back at the screen and then looked back at each other. Oh man, dude, I talked about it last episode. Won't run it on too long, but the Projekt Park mug and the Projekt Park tees, which you can see Imposter rocking right now, is a collaboration between Imposter and I. If you saw the last episode, I discussed a little bit about it and this and that, and went into a little bit more depth about it. But the Projekt Park mug and tees should be live right now on the Side Project merch store, and I might make sweaters and stuff too. I know it's getting hotter out there, but people like sweaters. I love sweaters too, man.
Hey,
you know?
so I
do not send me a freaking sweater, man. Not here in Florida.
We're gonna send you. We're gonna make a custom wool sweater, so you get like super itchy. Everything just for you.
If it was custom wool, like a Christmas sweater, if you guys start cranking those out, I will definitely get some.
I'm gonna make a Projekt Park one, and it's gonna be like the Bane jacket, and it's gonna have the Projekt Park on the back. And he's gonna rock that all super crazy 95 degrees in Florida. What?
we gotta do fucking ugly Christmas sweaters, but with like side project.
Oh, dude. Okay, next Christmas.
This Christmas coming up.
Next holiday.
And then just put a bunch of cosplayers' faces on them.
Exactly.
Insulted.
Oh man, do a collaboration with a bunch of different cosplayers, and on the shirt it's a bunch of different faces, Christmas style.
Hey, we can put Imposter in all his different variations.
Ones. Yeah, dude.
Yep. The ugly lineup. I'll do it.
Oh my God.
All right, man. Funny. Hey, look, check it out, ladies and gentlemen. Got something special for you this time. We're doing a dope episode, dude, courtesy of Imposter Cosplay. This was his idea. Whether it be Marvel or whether it be DC or even maybe Image Comics with the likes of Spawn. In superhero movies, we obviously have superheroes and supervillains. And with these characters also comes their suits. Sometimes we have suits or looks that are ripped straight from the comics. Other times, we have a new rendition made specifically for film. That can fall into several different subcategories, if you ask me, man. Made for film suits or looks could be inaccurate to their comic counterparts, but still be pretty damn awesome, right? Yep. Some of them are pretty damn 100%. Awesome. On the other hand, we can have iterations that we don't need, man, that should have never came to light on the big screen that are absolutely awful and become distractions and ongoing discussions from there on out. Superheroes in film, suits that worked and suits that didn't. And I think it's only right. It feels very fitting to get what just might be one of the most inaccurate portrayals of a comic book character in film ever out of the way right away. And that's the first rendition of Deadpool in XMen Origins, dude. That was a horrible rendition for film of a Deadpool.
I don't even know where to start.
You know what? I didn't even connect that in my brain as being Deadpool because I've... Just now, you said it. I'm like, oh yeah, that was supposed to be Deadpool, that was supposed to be Deadpool, so far out of my mind that I don't even connect the two. That's how far off it was. Just not even as the suit.
Yeah,
just as the character alone.
You know what it is,
the character alone. But I brought it up because it's like he didn't even have a suit. Like they changed the character so much. They changed the character so much that he didn't even have a suit when he should have.
Jeez, yeah,
it was bad, man. He didn't even have a suit. He was all like manufactured by what was his name? Stryker, right?
The biggest part of him, his mouth, and they took it away. And
exactly, the Merc with a mouth. That's literally the title of Deadpool. He's the Merc with a mouth. Before he became all like super Deadpooled out, and they messed with his eyes, and they did his mouth. He did have a nod to his comic counterpart when Ryan Reynolds was wearing like just a red cut off sleeveless little shirt.
That was more Deadpool than he was at the end.
Yeah,
before he got his powers, he was more Deadpool.
Yeah. That was the closest that they got in that film.
But like Bro, really? You're a big time movie studio. You're.
How did you mess this up that bad?
Not beyond all that. Like that's what you came up with.
I know, dude.
Like that, a cutoff t-shirt,
just a t-shirt and some cargo pants. I believe he was wearing.
Just gonna say that leads you into the next. You know the XMen suits in the movies haven't really always.
Yes. They
got outstanding.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm trying to be nice.
Did it work
because,
or
like,
didn't it work?
No,
you know what I mean? Did it work or didn't it work?
In my opinion, it worked for the movie.
Okay. I guess you could say that 100%. I agree with that. It did. They had the for those that don't know, I'll be throwing things up on the screen and whatnot. So if you're watching, you can see that. But for people just listening, if you don't know, or if you do know, they had the all black suits in the XMen films, the Fox universe. They had just the all black suits. They really didn't do anything comic accurate whatsoever. Unless we're talking right now, we're just talking about the originals. Unless we get a little bit later, they did like the Days of Future Past one when the cast was younger and they went back in time.
They started getting the color schemes.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. It still wasn't comic accurate, but at least they had more color schemes that were nods to comic accuracy. But as far as the X-Men go, they had like the all black suits, and they were matching, they were teamed up, which is technically a comic accurate thing. Like, not the colors, but the fact that they all kind of had similar suits and matching suits. The X-Men do that in the comics. They have matching suits, similar suits. It's you like what do they call it? Uniformity, right? Yeah. Is it uniformity or something? Yeah. You know what I mean? But they weren't comic accurate.
It's right, and they were afraid, like with the first movie, to go that route because it was still one of the early times. Like we live in a world now. We've talked about this before, where it's like superheroes everywhere. Yeah, but this was like Spider-Man. I think was the only one. And you got you're like, okay, how are we going to do X-Men? And we're trying to do a serious take on it. You can't do it, and they even poke fun at it. At the end of the movie, where he's like Wolverine. I don't know why they picked him, but he's because I guess he was Hugh Jackman Wolverine, probably, you know. But he was looking. He like looked at the suit and he's like uncomfortable with it, and he's like, really, black leather? And they're like, what, were you hoping for yellow spandex?
You actually go outside in these things? What would you prefer? Yellow spandex?
They did a nod to the actual comic accurate Wolverine suit at the end of one of the Wolverine movies where he's on the plane. And was it actually in the real movie or was it a deleted scene? I think it was a deleted scene.
I think it was a deleted scene. I don't think it was like an after credits. I can't remember though.
Yeah, I think it was a deleted scene. Did you ever see it? Right? Yeah. Where he opens up the suitcase and it has the actual comic accurate Wolverine suit there, and he just like looks at it and like maybe smirks or makes a noise, and then it just cuts and that's it.
Yeah.
But he never wore it.
I just don't know why they didn't commit. Like, just commit. And even if you have him wear it for like a second and look beastly and then get it like torn off or like hit off his head, and then you still have Hugh Jackman in the like yellow and blue or black or whatever color scheme you go for. I think they should have just committed, especially because of Hugh Jackman carries as much weight as Tony Stark, Iron Man, Robert Downey. Same thing. I was like, it's interchangeable. Yes, exactly. It's the same person. Like Hugh Jackman carries that same weight. So to have had that, you know, as a costume in a movie would have been really iconic. But there's still time.
You know what's something I don't like?
Multiverse of Madness, which we're not going to get into. But.
Yeah, because then that's a whole other conversation that'll run on.
That's a whole episode.
I got to say, though,
we should just do that, dude. Shoot 2 episodes
and just switch it
side by side for Multiverse of Madness. One's going to be a regular episode. The other one's a review for the movie. Good luck paying attention.
And I'll throw both episodes up and be like, I don't know what's going on. Why is there 2 episodes? I didn't upload 2.
Damn.
You know something that
simultaneously, dude.
Something that I didn't really like. It's not the biggest deal. I don't think you see it too much on screen, but when you're looking at it in pictures, if anybody recalls, I know Juice, you're looking at it with me right now. I don't know if you have it in front of you, Imposter, but if we're looking at the X-Men, not the Days of Future Past one, the originals, if you're looking at the all black suits, if you look at their pants, they're what are they called? When all the way down by the boots, they're like flared out like 70s style. What is that? Is it the boot cuts? But what's the other word for it?
Yeah.
There's a word for it. Like there's a style that
bell bottoms.
Bell bottoms. Yes. Yeah, they're like a little bit wider, all of them.
Not because I own any or anything. Yes, I do. Never mind.
Almost all of them. Like
don't cut that part.
Hey, you like really? Bob Ross cosplay now with the bell bottoms and everything.
Like the Beast.
Who says I haven't? Not everything has a picture, Juice.
Meat Wagon's spare time, dude.
It's full of them.
Beasts are
they do.
Beast is more flared out. Wolverine's is flared out. Iceman's is not flared out. Colossus's is a little bit more flared out. Angel's is not very flared out. Like, I don't know why the women's are not flared out at all, and that's a more common thing in female attire. But yet Wolverine and Beasts are like super bell-bottomed out. And I never understood
why. It's just sad to me because those are great suits.
Yeah, they're not bad suits.
A good color scheme. Yeah. So you look at it, the texture and the detail in them alone, they're made of leather, but they got so much detail in them that it's sad that they just went, let's make it all black because we're afraid to go comic book style.
Yeah, they were definitely worried, dude.
So many years ago, but they were.
Essentially they were like breaking ground though, right? So they were testing
they were one of the first to do it,
so
as far as Marvel goes.
But they also had time to develop though.
Yeah.
They had the time to develop because look how many times
they could have introduced it later. At the very least.
And they did, but it was just like very much later. I can't see it as an artist and you're doing an iteration of these iconic characters. I can't sit there as a costume designer and read the script and talk to the director and imagine him saying, all right, it opens up with a scene in the Holocaust. And then we go, okay. And Cyclops will wear blue spandex and he'll shoot lasers out of his eyes. It's like, I get that, like,
when you put it like that,
flow.
Yeah.
You know, true. Like it was a dark, heavy movie. Like it was very much about mutants and humans. It's true. It hit that point.
It's true,
but we're talking about costumes.
I would say that's where I say it worked. Like with what you said, I agree. It worked for that film. Yeah. I still say that they could have introduced it later and done something with it and been a little bit more comic accurate and done it right because that you can do it. Look at what we've got today with a lot of comic accuracy that we have today. But while we're on the topic of X-Men, real quick, I just want to ask you guys. What do you want to see in the MCU now that we know the X-Men are coming as far as like suits go? Do you want it to, since we're talking about this, do you want it to be comic accurate? Do you want to see a comic accurate Wolverine or a comic accurate Storm in all white?
It's very
comic
hard.
Accurate Cyclops, Gambit?
It's very hard for me when you talk about Wolverine just because like ever since they killed off obviously Logan, right?
Yeah.
That's it. That's done. Leave it alone. I don't want to see.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to see stuff yet.
It's been like 11 years, but it's okay. Still, I don't even know how long ago that movie came out. I don't remember.
But that would be dope though if they did go comic accurate, especially because you obviously multiverse of madness, different timelines, etc. Like that's the whole thing of it, right?
Yeah,
so you could go like flashback style, do like a real old school 90s style suits and everything.
And you never know what's going to stick and what's going to stay when it comes to a multiverse. So they can introduce somebody that's it could be hit or miss. They could gauge fan reaction and be like, that didn't work. So that's
their way to test the
we'll do something different,
So you know how I'm going into it, and it's kind of weird, and I don't want to like insult anybody. So but I'm going into it like I'm so burnt out on X-Men. Like,
are you really?
If I wasn't as big as a Batman fan, I'd be burnt out on Batman, the same type of thing. But X-Men we talked about this before too, I think in comments or messages or something on one of the episodes. I don't remember, but I know I've spoken to you guys about it. I'm just so like burnt out that I have no expectations. And I think I'm just excited to see them do whatever Marvel's going to do with it.
Nice.
Because I'm
That's
so
a good
burnt
way to
out
go
on
about
the
it.
whole like Days of Future Past and Patrick Stewart and James
I get what you're saying.
Like all these are great actors, great characters, but they've like that's past.
I get what you're saying.
I would totally be okay with them going, here are the X-Men, and it's brand new people, new suits, and me just like getting a fresh look at it and them doing the MCU way. But I just like, I'm so burnt out on these X-Men, especially you put a nail in the coffin with like Logan. That was such a good way to end that entire storyline. Like, hey, we're in the future and your favorite X-Men is old and here's his story ending. And it's true. Let's wrap it up, Even like Patrick Stewart, I love him, but let's wipe it clean and like hit me with something fresh. Just make it Marvel like they did with Tom Holland, that was very close to Andrew Garfield. If you don't remember.
Yes.
It was like almost back to back. Like, we're casting a new one and now Disney has him, man. We're going to force him into Civil War. And it felt like so rushed.
If I remember correctly too, when that happened, just to cut in before we veer off from the Spider-Man thing, old school legacy mug, dude, the NES mug, man, back in the days. The Spider-Man one, it was very back to back. And I remember even myself, and I remember a lot of people that I spoke to going like, they were upset by it. They were like, why? Like, why? Why are we rebooting it again? Like, just continue with Andrew Garfield and make it better. Because a lot of people didn't like a lot of things about the Andrew Garfield one, as far as the people liked Andrew Garfield, but people didn't like certain things with the movies. But people liked, I think it's a common ground that everybody liked Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. And I remember.
I disagree, but.
You think so? I think a lot of people,
I had a lot of my friends were like, nah, dude.
Really? Oh, that's crazy. Okay, well, everybody's different.
I talked to were like, no.
Oh, that's crazy. Okay.
They were like, he's too hipster. He was like too cool. I'm like,
I do.
He's like,
yes, people did say that.
Yeah. But to me, it was like, this is taking place now. This is what the kind of nerdy people are now, you know?
Yeah,
like they're kind of isolated and, you know, maybe they're artistic, like photographers or they're, you know, they're not reading science books all night and doing their homework. Like that's not the new nerd. The new nerd is like, he's got a skateboard and a back. Like it works for me, but a lot of people didn't resonate with that. They're like, he's too cool, hipster.
I do see that. Like, I see both sides. I see both sides. I just remember people that I spoke to at the time. I remember a lot of people going like, why are we rebooting it again? Like just leave it with Andrew Garfield. But then look, we got Tom Holland and I think it was a great rendition. I think it was great.
Move. Yeah, that was an excellent move, man.
Yeah.
So much.
And it all came full circle during No Way Home. So yeah.
Exactly. And I'm going to say this right now. I don't care what anybody says. All the suits, nothing compares to Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit. I've said it before. I think I've talked to you guys in comments. I will live and die by that statement.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. I'm not a huge fan of the Tom Holland ones. I didn't like the Homecoming suit at all because it was kind of like very Tony Stark. You know, I told you it was like he's mini Spider-Man, Iron Man Jr., whatever.
Right.
Then it felt like made more suits for him.
Yeah.
And then I love the Homecoming suit.
Yes.
Like, I'm like, oh, these are just getting worse. Then they did the black and blue, and I wasn't a fan of that.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I agree with that.
What are they doing? And then the Iron Spider, I'm like, I get it for Endgame, but then they bring it into No Way Home. I'm like,
but you know
this is not working. Like, just bring back the original. And that's why they do in the end credits. And so cool. He's flying around. He's got
the end credits looks amazing.
Because that's what people want.
Yeah.
You know? I think though that whole situation was kind of because they were setting him up to kind of take that
Iron Man mantle.
Right? So of course it made sense.
I got something to say.
It made sense in a way that they were trying to set him up and start kind of like updating him, just how you said, right? Everybody felt that Garfield, in a sense, was like too hipsterish and like, oh, he's not, you know, he doesn't really fit that kind of style of Spider-Man, right? So this is essentially that new era Spider-Man. This is what fits within like the Avengers and everything else.
It's what fit this current storyline, this era, this timeline.
I guess it just was like hit or miss, like you said.
And I think I guess it's doubling back to when you said about him becoming Iron Man, like I get that, but what I also said in my episode about Superior Spider-Man, I said that I think what we're seeing here is kind of to piggyback on what you said. Everything fit for this timeline, everything fit for what's going on here in the MCU with the Avengers and Tony Stark mentoring and everything. And now I think what we're going to see moving away from No Way Home. I know this totally has nothing to do with what we're going to talk about on this episode, but
it does, suits.
I mean, it kind of does, but what I think we're going to see moving forward.
Does it work? Does it not work? Yeah.
But what I think we're going to see moving forward as the character as a whole is a more, I guess what some could say, quote unquote, comic accurate Peter Parker and Spider-Man. This is him now alone. He's got no one. He's got nothing. He created that suit that is more super comic accurate with his own resources. You see him sewing it. I mean, you don't physically see him sewing it, but you see that he did sew it. You see everything there, that he did it himself.
Yeah. Right.
And he doesn't have access to Stark Tech. So now, you know, he lives alone in his apartment. Everybody's dead or gone or doesn't remember him, et cetera, et cetera. So I think now we're going to get a more Spider-Man that people want. Maybe we're going to get a Spider-Man that's now doing photography now. Maybe Tom Holland's Peter Parker is going to do photography and et cetera, et cetera. We're going to get all of those things is what I think is happening.
About Spider-Man, because I was just always so used to seeing that growing up, right? It was just always about him like taking shots and then like, oh, how'd you get that shot?
Right.
You know, every time he wanted to go turn in the shot.
I think we had to have what we had in the MCU to set up what we're going to have in the next trilogy. That's what I think.
Well, and every director, every artist, and that's kind of how I came up with this episode is when I did my Riddler cosplay, and I was so intrigued by it because it was so like scary. Like it was that version. Like
this is
I had a nightmare about that version. And that's what made me want to do it. I'm like, this is legitimately like a scary thing. Like,
it's amazing.
It was scary. So and then I get a lot of hate for it. Like I get a lot of hate and like hate comments on the costume. Not like me personally. Like no one's going out of their way.
Oh yeah,
people hate it. Like,
that's crazy. I personally haven't seen anybody saying negative things about it. I love it.
Oh
personally.
yeah, there's plenty.
That's crazy.
There's plenty out there, but it's like you gotta let these.
what's their deal with it though? Like, why are they saying, like, what type of comment are they like?
Like dominatrix, mask,
dominate.
Not
okay,
accurate.
all right. Okay, I see what they're saying, but.
I tell them, I'm like, you seem to be the professional at it. I'm glad your home decor is matching my costume. I'm playing dress up. Like, I say that, and then usually the comments stop.
Yeah,
and I tell them, like, oh, I trust you on your simp and whatever you're into. More power to you, but it's just a costume. Sorry. Like, I'm like, slide out of the DMs, like just stuff like that. But like, I don't let them get to me like that. Like, I'll stand up for it. But it's like. You got to give the director like that artistic, like you got to let them do it because he's making an iconic character. He's making something that's been done so many times and it's been done what people will say perfectly so many times. What are you going to do? You're going to crank out the same crap. And that's why I didn't do it for Spider-Man. That's why I respect it. But if I was comparing suits and I said, what's the best Spider-Man suit? Amazing Spider-Man 2. But also I know where they're coming from. It fits into the story. Everything Chaz says I agree with. Makes complete sense. It works for me. Still doesn't make me love the suit. So I completely respect when people are like, that's not my Riddler. Like, I don't like the Riddler. But when they're like, just really trying to like harp on it to like, make fun of it. That's like different. Like you cannot like something and you cannot be a fan of it, but still respect it. You can say that's not for me. I'm not into that. But when you're saying, I don't know why you would wear that. Why would you put that on your face? That's not the Riddler. You look ridiculous and stuff like that. Now you're downplaying someone who's got an opinion. I don't let it get to me. I really don't, because otherwise I wouldn't do it. But
I think also people have to wait.
People think like that is weird.
Yeah, I think people have to wait to see the movie as well. Like for anybody out there that does not like the Riddler, the suit that they got, the costume that they got going on for him right now, I think also if you're not seeing it from the trailers, I think it fits with the world that they have created for this Batman.
So that's what
and I think maybe see the movie, watch the movie, and then come out of the movie and see if you still feel the exact same way, or if you kind of feel like, I see why they went that route. This fits what's going on in this world.
Even though, let's say the suit's not accurate, and we've never seen a version of that suit, that Riddler is probably going to be the most realistic, scary Riddler we've had so far.
More like a serial killer.
When people played the Arkham games, they were like, this is what the next movie should be. Like Matt Reeves took that into consideration because everyone's like, look at this. He's so scary. And he's like basically Jigsaw, but he's Riddler. And he's like, okay, I'm going to do that, but I'm going to put my own stamp on it. But you can't really make that work. Back to the XMen argument where you're like, hey, he's duct taping people and he's stabbing them in the throat and he's going to wear question marks all over. Like,
exactly.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't.
You got to give them that artistic freedom to like really work it in the way they want to. The way they see it fit for the story, like you said. And you might still watch the movie and go, it's still not the Riddler. But, that brings me up to one that's not a live action suit, but I wanted to bring it up real quick. There was a show, 2005, when Batman Begins came out. It was called The Batman. And in that show, it was very like anime style. He was a young Bruce Wayne, and the fight scenes were really like quick and fast, and they made it like based off anime. It was a great show, and it is second to Batman the Animated Series. In my book,
look it up.
It is a perfect Batman story. Even if you just watch season one is gold, but the rest of the seasons are good too. But season one just is amazing. There is some character designs in there that I'm not a fan of, but the Riddler in that show looks god awful.
I'm trying to look it up Marilyn right now and see if I remember. You said when did it release?
2005.
Okay,
it was just called The Batman.
2004 is what I'm seeing here. September 11th, 2004 to March 8th, 2008. Trying to see if I watched this one or not. I don't recall.
So the Riddler in that is super creepy and weird looking. He looks like Marilyn Manson. He's wearing like white makeup and he's just got a leotard with one question mark on it. But the episodes he's in are so good and they're so Riddler style that there was one line that he gives in the show that gave me chills.
He's got long
Robert
hair.
Englund, who played Robert Englund, who played Freddy Krueger, voices that Riddler.
Oh, nice.
So he can
I don't believe I've seen this one.
Extra creepy. Yeah, it's a great show, but that kind of makes me like, again, to the Riddler thing. I'm like, okay, the last Riddler I hated was like a Riddler I really liked. So maybe this one, even though the suit's not comic book accurate, maybe it'll work for this version.
Right.
So I don't know, man. I would say we're going to skip Matt Reeves because we haven't seen the movie yet, but I will say suit for Batman and Riddler works, but I'm a huge fan. So
I think so too.
And I was honestly like, And you could go back because we've had so many episodes and so many discussions about this, and then previous, upcoming when we were starting to hear like news about who was casting, who was this, and who was that. Like I was just so thrown off. I was just like, fuck, man, I don't want to see this. This
about
is
what?
Gonna be trash.
About Robert Pattinson being Batman. Oh, okay.
No, and just in general, like who they were casting. Yeah. Like I wanted to see like a real fat suit,
Ben
old
Affleck.
school. No, not
Batman.
Ben Affleck. Penguin and shit like that, right? So certain things that were coming to light, I was just like, but now,
I was a little skeptical.
Now, as things are coming out, now that I see they're doing a more dark, a more intense, a more like psychotic characters, even with everything, even look at everything that's been coming out for Bruce Wayne, for Batman, for him alone, it just seems so fucking intense. And it just seems like this is going to be one of those movies that I definitely do want to see what's going to happen. I want to see it. And we got to figure out how to do an episode for it.
I know. I know this is totally off subject, but I just want to say that we were using our natural light today, and it looks like a storm is coming in absolutely out of nowhere. You see this, Juice?
Oh, this is horrible for me.
And it just totally ruined the lighting in the room. So I apologize for that. If it gets any darker, we may have to cut and set up the lights real quick. But I'll try to alter a little bit of it in editing try to go as long as we can. But does it look too dark to you? Looks a little.
It always looks dark.
For me, it looks
don't worry about that. I know on the computer here it looks good, but on our camera,
on the computer,
it looks a little dark.
Well, it works for the dark, sinister look for the Batman.
We'll try to. I know it definitely changed. I know it changed for sure. But if it gets any darker than this, we're gonna have to stop for a moment and set up our lights. But I just want to apologize for anybody watching if it changes and it looks like crap. But speaking of, you said, the Batman, the suit works and everything and this and that. I think another one of those, which is actually technically kind of not exactly comic accurate, but it works for me. And I want to see, I think collectively, a lot of people would probably agree that it works for them as well. I want to see your guys' opinion. But the Netflix Daredevil is technically not 100% comic accurate. They went a slightly different route. The color scheme is a little bit the same, but it's darker. It's not exactly super skin tight and all that stuff, but I think it's another example of it works for that world. I think it works for that time,
for that series.
The setting, the way that they're going. I think it works. And did you watch the Imposter? Did you watch the Daredevil on Netflix?
I love it. I was actually rethinking about rewatching it recently. Me too. It's amazing. The suit is great. I'm not like you said, it's not too comic book accurate. I've never been like crazy about the Daredevil suit in general. Red suit and mask with horns, so it takes a little bit. There's a few cosplayers who've done it really amazingly and done it better than the show, I would say.
Yeah, I've seen a few.
I would go as far as saying like, okay, here's like two sides, one coin, right? What we're talking about. Ben Affleck Daredevil suit. Perfect Daredevil suit. It worked. Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah. It's actually kind of pretty damn comic accurate.
Yeah, it's as close as you'll get.
Yeah.
Bullseye.
Horrible.
Completely awful and terrible. And also played by Colin Farrell.
Yes.
So it's funny that now he's going to be like the most comic book accurate Penguin, but he was the least comic book accurate Bullseye.
Yeah.
Like he 100%. He brings that movie down so far. But when you're talking about two sides, one coin, it's kind of crazy that they designed.
Yeah.
Maybe it was two different designers. I don't know. And one just maybe had a different, but I hate that. So like, there's nothing about that suit that stands out to me at all. I hate it. Yeah. And him getting the engraving there, it just didn't, it just didn't work for me at all.
And now a word from our sponsor.
Imposter Cosplay and Side Project Podcast present.
Oh, it sounds like Jurassic Park.
Be quiet, Kyle. It's an ad. The new Projekt Park merch is available now on the Side Project merch store. Get yourself a tee in a variety of colors. Get yourself a hoodie in a variety of colors. You can also get it on a mug. Look at that mug. This is an ad. Available now on the Side Project merch store. Link in bio and link in description here on YouTube. And we're podcast stream.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
Keeping with a little bit of Marvel theme here, I want to talk about the Falcon, dude. Technically, completely non-accurate.
Inaccurate.
Yeah, 100% inaccurate comic suit. As far as the colors go, I mean, obviously he's got the wings and all that. He is the Falcon, so he's going to have that. But the suit itself is completely inaccurate. The original suit, which is up on the screen for the people that are watching, is like white and orange, and the wings come out and they're really more Falcon style. And then in the MCU, we got it more like, would you say, is robotic the right word? What would
tactical.
Tactical is the right word. Tactical. There we go. Tactical suit, tactical wings, all of that. Even the
eyes,
what's
the lenses.
What's the drone that he uses called? Does anybody recall? That's an actual bird in the comics. I don't remember. That's an actual
that I can but that I can go with a Tom Holland style scenario where it's like, how are you gonna make that work and cool? And then you have Peacemaker and they have Eagly and you're like, oh, that's how you make it.
Eagly is amazing, dude. Oh, I just want to hug Eagly myself. But I think that this is another this is a this is another one where it's like it's not comic accurate, but I dig it. I like it. It works.
But they give it to him. They give him the comic book accurate at the last episode.
For Falcon and Winter Soldier is what you're talking about, right? When he becomes Captain America?
We're talking about like
when he becomes Captain America,
just MCU.
That's completely comic accurate. And that suit's awesome. I love it. But if we're talking about before he's Captain America, just Falcon, like throughout the Avengers, it's technically not comic accurate. If we're being sticklers about it, you know what I mean?
Again, this is one of those situations where we just have to adapt to something new because could you imagine, and it's the same thing we're talking about, could you imagine, you have Iron Man, you have Captain America, Thor. You have all these people, and then here comes Falcon in spandex,
bright orange spandex. You know what I mean?
Chest all exposed.
It wouldn't work. It doesn't. It doesn't fit.
It wouldn't fit the theme.
Dare I say, an outdated suit. It's an outdated look. It doesn't fit for what's going on in this movie, and I dug it though. You know, and I'm curious to see what other people say.
I mean, shit. Honestly, though, if you want to throw a little nod to that classic suit, though, is Multiverse of Madness. We're gonna see so many different things. Like,
I would love to see more Falcon.
Cameo, I
would love to see more Falcon and Bucky as well. Which Bucky said, Sebastian Stan said that he has no contracts currently. If he's being truthful. He currently has no contracts set up with Marvel.
Andrew Garfield wasn't in No Way Home either.
And neither is Deadpool, but he's in the poster. Did you guys see that?
I don't listen to that. Yeah, I think, I don't know if they're throwing in a nod or I think they're just hinting it, but he's going to be in it.
Yeah, and I think
that's why they haven't come out with anything. I think they changed course.
Yeah, I think
they changed course when that one trailer teaser came out, and they were kind of like, "Oh, we're going to put him in," and they're like, "No, don't announce it yet because we're going to put him in Multiverse of Madness."
Exactly. I think the same setting works for like Scarlet Witch, who I think a lot of people would say, I don't know if upset is the right word, but I know that it was a topic of conversation saying like none of her suits have been comic accurate. They've been nods to her color scheme, and she does. In the comics, she has the suit with the
not in the comics. Like I'm talking about, like, would you even consider these as suits? That's just like
she's just wearing she's just wearing regular clothing, and that's what I was gonna say is the one with the little leather jacket and the skirt or the dress. I didn't like that rendition at all. That's one that I didn't like. I wasn't freaking out about it. I didn't really care about it, but when we look back at it and now we've seen her after all these years in different suits or clothing, I guess you could say, as it went on, it built up to what we've got in WandaVision, where she is actually Scarlet Witch and wearing the Scarlet Witch costume. And I think that's dope. But I think that this is kind of another setting where it fits. It fits with the story. It fits with the timeline. It fits with what's going on. She's not going to be wearing the Scarlet Witch suit right away. Didn't even really know she was the Scarlet Witch.
Okay, and I wanted to add to that, especially because they gave her own arc and gave her a whole show to become that. So that's why it works. But man, could you imagine being on that set and Chadwick Boseman walks out and you see the footage and he's like Black Panther and you're just dressed in that jacket? Like, how did that feel? Like that they did her wrong, dude.
Yes,
so
dude.
They probably needed we need to give her a whole show and give her but they built her up. They gave her a character arc, but man, like suits that worked. Yeah, Black Panther suit worked.
The Black Panther suit, phenomenal. Every single one. Except, beautiful. You know what? I didn't like the purple one as much as I like the original, though. I like the original Black Panther suit better than I like the one with the purple where Shuri put the thing where
it absorbs
the energy. Yeah. I like the regular one better, but that's just me. But the color scheme for Scarlet Witch was dope. You know, I dig it. It fits again. You don't want to have a super bright one like she had in the Halloween episode. That doesn't really fit with what's going on. You know what I mean? So
they did it and they showed it to you, and then they're like, here's your fill of it, and now we're going to move on and create something.
So they filled that void, and dare I say that the Scarlet Witch one, the color scheme is a nod to the color scheme from the Fox's XMen of Magneto.
I mean, that is her dad, right?
That is her dad. That is her dad.
That exact helmet.
Did they have
color
this
scheme,
all
especially
planned?
Days of Future Past?
Right. Did they have this all planned? Because Marvel has things mapped out years in advance.
So I don't see why they wouldn't. Like, that's not something that you have to build upon. Right. But that's something you have to build upon, but you can.
Yeah. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, dude, Marvel kills it with most of their suits for sure. There's a few balls that have been dropped, but most of them have been knocked out of the park.
Exactly. Dude. Marvel isn't always perfect. And whether it be Disney, Fox, or Sony, they've had hiccups over the years, much like DC has had their high points and their low points when it comes to portraying heroes or villains with such as with intense accuracy, ranging from the more so Frank Miller iteration that we saw of Ben Affleck's portrayal of Batman to Henry Cavill's portrayal of Superman, Golden. Gal Gadot and Ezra Miller have pretty accurate renditions of Wonder Woman and the Flash, respectively. Even though you weren't the biggest fan of Wonder Woman. Even though I wasn't the biggest fan of Wonder Woman, but the suits, you know what I mean? Pretty damn accurate. But Jason Momoa's Aquaman actually differs much from the comics. Without even discussing just the suit, the majority of the portrayals of Aquaman have been blonde-haired portrayals. Sometimes short hair, medium hair, long hair, but blonde nevertheless. And Jason, as we know, differs from this comic look drastically. The suits haven't always been comic accurate either until later in his first solo film where they donned the extremely comic accurate Aquaman suit. So this iteration of Aquaman, does it work? Do you guys think it works?
Even his tridents went through different looks as well.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I think it works. I think it works really well.
I think it works.
I know there's some Aquaman cosplayers and fans who are like huge against Jason Momoa just because of that initial. But when Aquaman became quote unquote cool wasn't till the 90s when he had a hook for a hand and he had the long hair and the beard.
Yes, exactly.
That's what made him cool. So there are people who grew up with it and they love him for the way he was and the short blonde hair and the chiseled chin. But like, how many of those are you going to have? They were just cranking out the same character design. So do you want another, like you could honestly, Henry Cavill, his range, put a blonde wig on him and he could be an original Aquaman.
It's true.
Because he's got the chiseled look and hey, I'm Aquaman. And they were all like that. So you can't base it off of that alone. Now you have all these different characters. So you make Flash a little more wide-eyed and like new. You make Cyborg a little bit darker, Batman, Superman, you can't change. That's forever. And people have that ingrained. So you play that safe, but you stick to what you know. Zack Snyder did that successfully. Then you have Jason Momoa and you're like, where can I push this and how can I introduce this character in a way that's new? And then they put him in that suit
and
anyway,
that resonates
so it looked
with
great.
Today's
I'm a fan of Aquaman. Aquaman, Shazam give me the same feeling.
Yes.
I like rewatching it. I put on Shazam the other day. My wife was like, this is a fun movie. Why don't we just like leave it on? I'm like, I know. It's fun to watch him like run through the store and throwing like Batman toys at him. It's fun watching him train with his friend. Like, it's just a feel good movie. And Aquaman feels the same way. He's with his dad. He goes to the ocean. There's this lost kingdom. It's almost like a treasure hunt movie. It is a treasure hunt movie.
See, I just talking on the movie. I liked parts of Aquaman, the movie. I wasn't a giant fan of the movie, but I am a fan of Jason Momoa as Aquaman, though. I do.
Right.
I
and
do
my
dig
fault
that.
Again. We're talking about suits. The suits worked. Most of them worked. Flash's new suit. I'm not going to get heavy into it because I haven't seen it in action.
I'm 50-50 on that suit.
Yeah,
for his solo movie, right? For the Flashpoint movie. I know they're not calling it that, but I'm calling it that.
That is a Flashpoint. Yeah.
I don't know why they're not calling it Flashpoint. Why are they just calling it the Flash?
My face. I know what you're fucking doing. God damn it.
Yeah, exactly.
But I would go as far as saying Grant Gustin's suits have been better.
Yeah,
CW usually doesn't knock it out of the park, but Grant Gustin's versions of some of his suits, I'm like,
Justice League Flash suits. I do.
Yes,
I love those a lot.
That was a great design.
Yeah.
That was one I wouldn't agree with though, that it fit the character. That never sat with me right. I'm like, how did he do this? How did he get all this? Like,
that suit?
They're pieces from space shuttles that re-enter the.
Okay, that makes sense.
Like,
that
I have
make
this
sense.
in my Batcave, and I'm like, that didn't fit. Well, I was hoping more like Bruce Wayne would supply it to him, but then you end up with the Tom Holland argument. Like either way, it doesn't. You're not going to be happy because it's not spandex.
And then Zack Snyder didn't include. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the Flash has his suit in a ring. Right, and then his suit comes out of
that version
out of the ring,
probably couldn't. Right, that version probably couldn't really work for that, and it really was no need for it. Like
I believe
he was with the Justice League the whole time.
Yeah,
true.
He was never like, hey, I'm Barry Allen. He was Barry Allen to showcase that scene where he saves Iris, but he was never like, let me go to work and let me go on a date with Iris. It was like, let me show what I can do, and then Justice League.
I think that's happening in his solo film, though. I believe he has the ring in his solo film, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
And that's why they changed the suit, but now the helmet.
That's why you're not the fan.
Well,
yeah.
He's like, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work right now.
And I think
it's two different materials. It's like it's hard, man. It's tough.
Let's also do what we've been talking about, man. Let's give it a chance to develop. This is his first solo. I mean, I know that we had kind of like a setup, and everybody was in love with his suit now, and now we're kind of going backwards. But
because there's a lot of people that don't like the suit that they've showcased in the trailer.
Let's give it time to develop and see what happens further on.
But even then. I'm totally down for that. I think it'll be. I think the movie will be huge. I like that, Juice. Usually we're kind of on different pages with that. I kind of like where you're at. I like the positivity. Yes. All right. I'm on board. Meat Wagon Bros for life.
We haven't talked about too many villains.
Not going to show you where I got
No, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Nope. Not going to show the tattoo.
we haven't talked about too many villains, and I just want to say real quick that I think that Black Manta in Aquaman was a great suit. I think it was extremely comic accurate. They stuck to the comics like crazy. I don't think it could have been any more comic accurate if you ask me. They did a great job. I think they did it. I think that's a shining moment for DC 100%. You know what I mean?
And then his character overall, man, it was just really dope.
Yeah, I think the character's pretty
well. And
fair very well.
Loved it.
Someone's got to talk about it before we wrap up, before we get out of here, before we get to the cosplay of the week and all that stuff. Somebody's got to talk about it, man. Somebody's got to get it out of the way. Are we going to talk about Joel Schumacher's Batman and Robin? Are we going to talk about the bat nipples? Are we going to talk about the metallic color schemes? Did it work or didn't it work?
It didn't work, and I learned that the hard way.
Okay.
I had an initial batsuit when I was first starting cosplay, and I was going through all these renditions, and I hit a bump where like I didn't know what to do with it anymore. Okay. And it was sitting in this like weird space in my head where it's like I want it different. I can't just do it black. If I'm taking higher def photos, I got crazy with it. And I'm like, armor. I'm gonna make it like metallic armor. Yeah. And it's gonna be like metal pieces, kind of like. The idea in my head was closer to the Justice League Zack Snyder version of his tactical, like the gray.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Nah, dude. I got like silver metallic. I spray painted armored pieces, only silver metallic. It was silver and black. And I took the picture. I suited up. I went to a convention. And then I was like, oh my God. I am George Clooney Batman. I'll even do you the favor of sending you the picture.
Yes,
I will send the picture so you can put it up.
I want to see it. Yes,
we have to see that.
I will. It was so bad, and I don't even know what I was thinking. But it was one of those like I hit the block, and that was actually my stepping stone to. I need to broaden how I'm doing my cosplays instead of because at that point I was at the end of my rope with putting pieces together, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I've been doing it so long. That I didn't know what to do anymore. I'm like, what do I do with this thing? Like, I want to make it look better, but it can't because you hit a limit with what's already in front of you. So if you already have things, you can get really creative, but then you hit like this, I hit a creative dead end and I'm like, I'll spray it. I'll spray all the pieces of metallic. I'll go to Megacon. It's going to be sick. Look like an asshole. Look like a complete asshole.
But it was a learning curve for you, though.
Didn't work. Doesn't work. Won't work.
Exactly.
About it.
And but I do got to say that the only thing that semi worked for me was one of Robin's suits, and it was the one that was actually accurate to the color scheme. It was actually really accurate to the color scheme and actually had the Robin logo on his chest and everything. That's about the best that they got out of it, in my personal opinion. Yeah, no, the Joel Schumacher Batman Forever suits, I love those. I think the Sonar suit's gorgeous. Batster does an amazing Batman Sonar suit. Yes. He killed it. I requested him specifically to do that edit where we all got together. I reached out to all those dudes and I'm like, please, send me the highest def photos you have so we can put this together. This is my vision in my head. My vision was just like all of us standing there coming out of like a portal. Yeah. And then Batster's like, hey, I made this real quick. I'm like, oh yeah, that's 10 times better. That's what we're doing. And then I was like, change this. I'm like, put this over here, change this around. And we were so collaborative on it. He's so cool. He's a great guy. Nice. One of the nicest cosplayers you'll ever meet. Yeah. Yeah. And it just got to a point where it just kind of worked itself out after he had done his vision with it. So Batman and Robin suits worked.
if you took away the nipples from the Kilmer suit, that suit is gorgeous. The Sonar suit doesn't have nipples. It's amazing. And the Robin suit has nipples and it's fucking fantastic. So, I mean, I said what I said, that Robin suit, Chris O'Donnell killed it. That one shot where he like kicks Harvey Dent off the thing and then this cape's waving and there's the green lights.
Right.
You can't be shitting on Joel Schumacher all day, guys. That guy, he had a vision. He executed some of it really well.
I think there's a lot that didn't work, but I think there are some things that did. There are certain things here and there that worked, but in my personal opinion, I think there's a lot. I think they. Do you think that? Just talking about the movies, do you think that they're the worst Batman movies?
No.
You don't think so?
No. The Bruce Wayne Alfred stuff and Batman and Robin alone makes that a worth watching movie. That is like a huge character arc for Bruce Wayne that other movies haven't done. Like Batman Returns didn't have a character arc for Batman. He was just Catwoman and then not with Catwoman. Like he was trying to stop the Penguin. He was Batman. But like as a character to grow, I think Batman and Robin did that fantastically. And like how strong-headed he was, how he was leading Robin away from him and making it like a Nightwing storyline, and Alfred like losing Alfred and Alfred still pushing him and him having all these flashbacks, and that has some of the best Bruce Wayne stuff in my opinion. And George Clooney is also a great Bruce Wayne. And I think had he been in a better direction and in better hands, he would have successfully been able to portray a great Batman. I think it's crappy that people don't feel the same way because he's an amazing actor, and I feel like he could have killed that character.
Yeah, that's just one of those situations where it's not necessarily the actor.
Maybe it wasn't him. It was the hand he was dealt.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people saying now, as time has progressed, that Val Kilmer was actually a great Batman and doesn't get any credit. He never gets brought up. His name never gets brought up.
I didn't even know that was like a question. I didn't even know that was a question.
I've been seeing that lately a lot more.
I didn't know he wasn't a great Batman. Every Batman brings something unique to it, And I know we're going to get out of here soon, but I did want to touch on sometimes when it is comic book accurate, it doesn't work completely.
Right.
And I think it worked for the movie. Like we said, it's situational, but Kickass was an awesome movie.
Yes.
But I don't think that suit was perfect. Like it was comic book accurate, but I don't think it should have been in a live action movie. Like I feel like they should have done more, and it worked for the movie because he's the kid and he buys this spandex and puts in. They should have. And that kind of brings me to this
the cosplay of the week.
Yes, I've been waiting to do that, man. I wish I could have started with that. God damn it.
Yes, we had to do.
Dude, I'm gonna let you announce them. Throw them up there.
Yes, man, ladies and gentlemen, this week's cosplay of the week is none other than Bobbin Colin. That's BOBBINCOLIN, and I'm throwing it up on the screen right about. Let's kick some ass, man. Boo now. Ooh.
Yeah, it's just a
and look
it's
at this,
more like
dude.
Ass kick.
This Bobbin Colin, dude.
God
this
damn,
is
man. Knocked it out the
absolutely
park.
amazing. And the caption says, "Test footage for Kickass the reboot is out now. Link in the bio." And that's because he has a 30-second test footage video of him in the full getup available on Sleepwalk Studios YouTube page right now. And I checked it out this morning and it's absolutely dope, dude. You guys got to go check that out if you have not.
Send me the link. I'll definitely
Colin,
check that out.
this week's cosplay of the week, Kickass. It's absolutely crazy, man. Absolutely crazy, dude. Shot by at A.Bentley Photos, and that's Ley for Bentley. And the costume was made by himself and Chris of Sleepwalk. That's at Chris of Sleepwalk. Kick-ass, dude. Let's take a look at this, man. This is just like what you were saying right before this. If you guys haven't seen this whole episode, go watch this whole episode. If this is just a promo clip and you're watching this right now on Instagram, go watch the whole episode because we're talking about suits in superhero movies. Suits that worked and suits that didn't. Looks that worked and looks that didn't. And one of the things that Imposter brought up was Kick-Ass. So it's very fitting that we have a Kick-Ass cosplay of the week this week that looks absolutely amazing. You're kicking ass, dude. This is a more tactical version, dare I say. This is a more realistic version in a sense, dare I say, if you're actually fighting crime and doing all of those things. This is more on par with something that DC is doing, something that Marvel could be doing, and et cetera, et cetera. This is absolutely
I really
dope.
hope they take direction from this because, like, it is. We're going from like a straight up just spandex kid that bought a suit to this, man.
This is like an upgrade. This is Kick-Ass that upgraded.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes. This is TikTok or this is TikTok. This is Kickass on the juice. Like,
yes,
like,
dude.
Ooh.
Exactly.
Yeah, on the juice.
Yes, man.
He looks badass. The costume design is great. This guy's a really cool cosplayer. He's got a lot of content. He was actually one of the first Robins from BVS.
Yes,
started cosplaying that. He was like the first Robin BVS years ago when the movie was being released. He did a phenomenal job with that. Super cool guy. Make sure you go follow him.
100%.
You know, the one thing I wanted to touch on is like just all the armor pieces and stuff. There's always been talk, like especially with Spider-Man, it's like, why would he have a suit like that? Like I did with Flash, right? Why would he have a suit like that? Like nobody can make a suit like that. But that's false. With 3D printers and all the stuff we're doing.
Exactly.
We're making these suits. If we had powers, we would use these suits. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So that doesn't work. The Flash I brought up because like he's like, oh, this is space material. Like I don't know what he says. Like it was weird. It's like they use this for space shuttles to re-enter Earth, and I'm like, whoa, that was
How'd you get your hands on that?
Like on eBay, right? But
where'd you get the money
like
if you had to buy it?
Oh, they couldn't. Right, they're like people couldn't make it. Well, they couldn't. If you did have powers, then this is mostly what your suits would look like.
Right.
So make sure you go follow him.
Yeah.
Amazing guy. Make sure you.
This is dope, dude. The helmet is absolutely awesome. I like the color scheme. It's a little bit dark. It's darker as well. The color scheme is darker than what it would be. What it is in the movies, which seems to be kind of a theme, which is kind of the theme of this episode. A lot of the suits that we mentioned today were darker than their actual comic counterparts because it fits in a more realistic setting. Yeah. You know, you can't be running around in orange spandex like the Falcon from the comics. You know what I mean?
Well, right.
And this works, and I really like the way you have the helmet with the mouthpiece and everything, and with the visor going. You can barely see your eyes. It's kind of more menacing that way. You know what I mean? And then like Imposter was talking about with the armor and everything, the chest piece is beastly. I really like the shoulder pads. They're perfect. And you know what I like is like it's super realistic in my personal opinion too, because he's got like the way he's got the elbow pads, dude. Yeah. You know what I mean? The way he's just got the elbow pads there. Yeah,
like that.
Exactly. Those simple details, dude.
And I'm loving the battle worn look as well, though.
Yes.
Like
he's been in some fights already.
Been in some fights. Actually been kicking ass. Doing kick ass things.
He's doing kick ass shit. Yes, dude. I love it, man. And the pouches,
attention to detail, dude. That's
the pouches and everything. So you can hold stuff and all that stuff. The utility belt. I love it, man. This is absolutely phenomenal, dude. This is absolutely phenomenal, man. I really, really dig this. You guys need to go follow Bobbin Colin, BOBBIN. Colin, COLIN on Instagram, and make sure you go to what's it called again? It is Sleepwalk Studios. Go to Sleepwalk Studios YouTube page and you can check out the test footage of him in the entire Kick-Ass suit. It's absolutely dope. Bobbin Colin, your Kick-Ass cosplay of the week for us is
Kick-Ass.
Amazing.
Lee Kickass. All right,
Kick-Ass.
Yes, man. Yes, absolutely dope,
guys.
dude. Yeah, man. I know we got to wrap up. Imposter's got some things to do. This ran on a little longer than expected, and we started a little later than expected. So I know you got
Pissmaker. Pissmaker's taking up full time,
exactly,
dude.
Man. And for those that don't know what Pissmaker is, I'm throwing it up on the screen so you can see it. And that is Imposter's son as Pissmaker, dude. And real quick before you go, just briefly tell the people the story about the Pissmaker thing, what you were telling us before we started and everything, and how it picked up traction. James Gunn and all that good stuff. Tell everybody that, man.
Yeah. So I came up with the idea actually when he was like born, like a month after he was born, because Suicide Squad had come out, and it took me and my wife about a week to watch it. With him, so it was like very ingrained. Like it was a week-long movie to watch, and I love Pissmaker. And then they announced the show, and I was just like, my wife and I are always doing inside jokes and making jokes, and one of them was like, he's a Pissmaker is what he is, like, because we were watching the Suicide Squad. I'm like, oh my god, how funny would that be? And it took me a while, and luckily I was able to like coincide it with the show, and he was so young, I was able to do a few things with him that he had fun doing. But right now he's like super into like facial expressions, and he loves like being in front of the camera, and I was able to make the helmet for him. I padded it, I 3D printed it for his head, and I had someone print the logo and emblem, and we just made it, man. And we shot it. I even did a little Rick Flag, like just I got the t-shirt and we took a photo together, and I just love it, man. I love like him being part of it. And even if he grows up and he doesn't like cosplay, and it just gets me like pumped for all the stuff he's going to be into, and like opening my world to new things. And like every day's an adventure with this kid. So like I couldn't be happier. And it was great because I did post it, like you said, and then James Gunn retweeted it. John Cena started following back, and then the official Pissmaker page they said something along the lines like, you got to start him young on peace. Yes. And it was just like, I don't know, it's just cool to see that. Like, I'm not one who thinks like, oh, we're big time now. Like that's not what I'm thinking. I'm thinking like, it's cool that the people who has inspired this get to see what inspired my form of art, which is like making these cosplays.
Right.
And Glenn Dillon also liked and reposted one of mine from the Batman. So
I saw
he
that
reposted
too.
that as well. And that just like is really great to see in a way like, hey, look, you guys inspired this, and it's cool for them to go, that's awesome. Like it, retweet it, post it, and push it to share it with everyone. Yeah. So it was just really cool.
Yeah. And I think a little deeper into that though, like not to take up too much time though, like what you're ingraining into him right now as a dad, I mean, and for the fathers out there, I'm sure would agree, you're really working on his imagination. You're really working on developing that kind of creative side on him early on. So like you said, even if he doesn't cosplay, hopefully that transitions into some other passions, into some other things, because his imagination is already, his wheels are already spinning being in front of the camera. He likes doing this. He likes doing that. You're dressing him up. Like what kid wouldn't like that, you know?
Yeah.
And like I told you about my nephew, like how badass is it that I can tell him like, hey dude, I know Batman, I know Riddler, I know this, and I'll show him photos of Imposter, dude. And he's just so stoked about it. So kids appreciate that. That memory is gonna stick with him. You know?
It's cool because you're building and bonding with your son. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. And that's the most fun, man. It reignited that fire. And like I said, Pissmaker, I would never do Peacemaker. I just don't feel like I could do it justice. And then doing it through him was really cool. Like that's not a cosplay I would do, but now it is because of him. So
which
dude,
another suit, Peacemaker, another suit that they did very well on. Comic accurate, and it worked, man. Yes, and it worked, dude. Yes.
Listen, thank you guys so much. I gotta go on dad duty.
Anything you want to say before you leave? Anything about
everyone's gonna see what's coming. You know what's coming.
I know what's coming.
We're gonna keep it secret because it's gonna be huge.
Awesome, dude. Can't wait, man.
Thank you guys for having me.
Go follow Imposter Cosplay on Instagram at Imposter Cosplay. You can find everything that he does there. Follow along and stay up to date with everything that Imposter Cosplay is doing. Thank you for coming on, man. I know you got to go, so we are definitely letting you go right here, right now. Thanks for coming, brother.
Thank you, guys.
Man, so awesome to have Imposter on every time, dude. And I'm glad that you were able to come and make it for this one too, because every episode that we've ever done with Imposter has been the three of us, and it just kind of pays a little homage. You know what I mean? It's just like a throwback. The three meat wagons here. You know what I mean? So it's always cool when who is this parked in my driveway, by the way? What is going on here, man? But no, really cool, man. And I thank Imposter Cosplay for coming. He's got all kinds of really cool stuff coming up. And sorry we had to rush this episode a little bit or cut it short if it ever seems that way. I don't know. I'll find out in editing. But we had to get it done. This was the only day that we could do it. We really wanted to talk about these things. And you know what? This leaves the way that we did this episode leaves it open for a part 2. You know what I mean? Because there's so many suits that we could talk about. There's a lot of villains that I want to talk about. There's like so many other things that I just want to talk about with Imposter in general.
Yeah, which I think for the majority of the episode, we stuck to a lot of the superheroes
like more so. Yeah, maybe the next time we could focus a little bit more on villains.
Because I think the only real villain that we brought up, besides obviously like Riddler with that talk, but
Black Manta. We talked about XMen as a whole, but we didn't really talk about the villains still.
We kind of focus more. Yeah. I mean, we brought up Magneto because of the whole,
Scarlet we talked about Black Manta briefly, but
part two could definitely be
a little bit more
villain focused.
Yeah, a little bit more villain focused. And then also, I know we have plans. We may do it, we may not do it. But after we all watched the Batman, I know Imposter talked to me about it. That he wanted to come on.
I definitely have to make a way to make that episode.
He wanted to come on and talk about the Batman. So, and I was thinking of maybe reaching out to somebody else too. I'll talk about it off camera. We'll see if that happens. I don't know, but
ladies and gentlemen,
thank you guys for tuning in and doing all that stuff. I appreciate it so much. So thank you for watching, for liking, for commenting, for sharing, for doing all of those things that you do over on youtube.com/
The Side Project Podcast. I don't know why I said that.
I don't know, man, but it threw me off a little bit, dude. When you go down, you hit that big red button that says subscribe, and it goes, and you get 100 sexy project points. What can you do with them? I don't know, man. We're not going to get into it here today. Thank you for listening on Apple, Google, Spotify, and all those things that you listen on. When you rate and review and you thumbs up, you do all those things you do. I thank you from the bottom of hearts. Oh, Juice. Tell them where they can find you, man.
Captain_Juicebox for all social media, all platforms, etc. Might be changing soon, though, to something else.
Yeah, you never know, man. If you're looking for me, you can find me at IG Hates Chazzy on Instagram, and everything else you want to find me on is right here, listed on the screen. You can find it on the screen. For the listeners, you're going to have to go to youtube.com/SideProjectPodcast to find it. You're going to have to do that. If you're looking for the podcast as a whole, you can find it on Instagram at
Side Project Podcast.
Yeah.
Like that real announcer voice? Side Project Podcast. I've been working on that. I've been doing this, a couple times.
Getting it down, dude. Old school style, Juice. Hit him with some pistols, man.
Pew, pew. Pew, pew.